So you saw him drugging women, you saw him beating women, you saw him threatening men, and you saw him being violent.
Allegedly.
Well, it seems to me that if Diddy goes to jail, all of his enablers who stood by, watched, did nothing, said nothing, reported nothing should be right there in jail with him, because they are just as complicit as he is. They didn't want to lose their jobs. They didn't want to be excluded from his inner circle. They didn't want to lose out on that money. So why all the care and concern now? Why are you running to the media? People are dead. The damage is done. Hello everyone, my name is Rogan and this is This Bahamian Gyal. On my platform, I do social commentary and reaction videos. I encourage my audience to have private conversations in public. This week's video is sponsored by Aura. More on them later. Before I get into the video, I want to thank my latest channel members, Thomas Young Simba Jahi, Mama Nyangi, Alair Bookhart, Global Pilot 76, and Eric Johnson. Well, don't leave them all by themselves. If you like what I'm doing here on my platform and you want to support my channel, consider subscribing and becoming a member. All the details are down below. So things have gone from bad to worse for Sean P. Diddy Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka Brother Love. For many people close to him, they say this day of reckoning has been a long time coming. It all kicked off last year when Diddy's ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura sued the rap mogul in federal court, accusing him of a decade-long pattern of abuse, both physical and sexual. Now, Cassie alleged that Diddy was involved in sexual battery, sex assault, gender-motivated violence, human trafficking, and sex trafficking. Very serious allegations, the kind that brings out the feds, and they did come out. Federal agents raided Diddy's LA home because Diddy is now part of a human trafficking investigation. Feds allege that he is part of a RICO enterprise. Now, let me say that these are all allegations at this point because Diddy has not been charged or convicted in a court of law, so he is presumed to be innocent. But I'm going to be honest here with you guys and say that it's just too many people, too many reports, too many lawsuits for me to even think otherwise at this juncture. Honestly, all these people cannot be lying. A lot of what we're hearing reminds me so much of the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. So naturally, a lot of eyes are on Diddy right now, considering his wealth and who he is and the connections that he has. But what I find that people aren't talking about enough is definitely the network of enablers that Diddy has that have allowed him, if he is indeed guilty of these things that he's accused of, that have allowed him to run rampant and fly below the radar for so long. We tend to see this same network around anybody who has substantial means, whether they're entertainers, politicians, or even drug dealers. For the past 5 months, we've seen a lot of former associates of P. Diddy coming forth, whether it's Gene Deal or Mark Curry, who I believe was one of his old producers, coming forth to say what they have witnessed when they were working or hanging out with Diddy over the years. They're all stepping forward to talk about witnessing Cassie being abused, as well as other women, most notably the mother of several of P. Diddy's children, Kim Porter, who died several years ago from pneumonia. Mark Curry alleges that he's seen Diddy break the nose of one of his ex-girlfriends. He also incriminated himself by saying that he witnessed Diddy slipping something in a woman's drink in a club. You didn't warn the woman? You didn't try to stop her from drinking it? You didn't try to talk to Diddy about it? I mean, you're incriminating yourself, but at this point, what's the point in you telling us these things when you watched it happen and you said nothing at the time? And now what? I'm supposed to applaud you for speaking out against Diddy after the deeds have been done? I believe that Mark Curry, he wrote a book some time ago, but I think it was mostly out of anger and frustration because Diddy wasn't dealing fairly with him. I don't see how these folks can just stand by and see the things that they see and say, well, I guess I do understand, because it's all about the Benjamins. It's all about the money. It's all about staying in that inner circle. That's a motivating factor for a lot of them. They don't want to be removed from the seat of power, which was P. Diddy for a very long time. It's also alleged that Diddy has a lot of compromising video of a lot of his guests. You know, he was famous for throwing his very elaborate parties. It was a who's who event. Everybody who is anybody, I suppose, and I put anybody in quotes, was there. And understanding that these folks may have been in some pretty crazy scenarios is definitely tabloid fodder, because now they're saying that he has footage, surveillance footage, and that he had these hidden cameras all over the house, even in the bathroom. Again, this whole thing reminds me of Jeffrey Epstein. I read that Jeffrey Epstein had cameras all over his house and, of course, on his island, and in the craziest of places, even in the bathroom. So if you were doing number two, he saw it. If you were getting down and dirty with someone else in the bathroom, he saw it. If you farted, he heard it on his cameras. And then he had a team of men watching the cameras constantly. And apparently Diddy has allegedly similar operations going on in his LA home and other places. So imagine all of the celebrities, all the A-listers that we've seen attending his parties over the years, the Beyoncés, the Jay-Z's, the Naomi Campbells, the Kevin Harts, all these people who have been at his parties caught in compromising situations. I can only imagine how paranoid a lot of them are right now. Just at the thought that their most intimate and private moments are online for the world to see. And actually that happened to me before. I mean, it wasn't a video or anything like that, but I did find out that my email was exposed online in major security data breaches. And I cannot even begin to explain to you guys how frustrated and fearful I was. It was scary for me knowing that my emails with all my information was in the wrong hands. Now I have to go through and change all my account passwords on these sites that were breached. And honestly, it makes me very, very apprehensive about even having Google save my password. Because you have so many passwords, you don't remember them all. It's all very violating. That's why I've decided to take my digital privacy in my own hands. And that's why I use Aura, the sponsor of today's video. My favorite feature? Aura monitors data brokers selling my information and automatically opts me out. So if you've ever Googled yourself and seen those weird sites claiming to have all your information, your address, your relatives, your phone number, etc., that's a data broker. When I Google myself now, I don't see anything. Thanks, Aura. But Aura does so much more beyond the data broker protection. They notify me of any data breaches that may have compromised my personal information, and they also provide a user-friendly password manager. So this tool simplifies the process of updating my compromised passwords, ensuring they are replaced with highly secure alternatives. I also get antivirus, VPN, parental controls, and identity theft insurance in one convenient app. I get all this instead of piecing together my own security by downloading several different apps. I don't know about you guys, but I value my privacy and I value yours. So go to aura.com/thisBahamianGyal to start your free trial and take control just like I did. By the way, don't forget to click the link in the description box. Now, back to the video. So seeing the feds raid P. Diddy's mansion and seizing whatever they ended up with might not even make much of a difference because according to so many people, Diddy has so many of the footage and pictures and audio recordings backed up somewhere. And I think this was revealed when Cassie initiated her lawsuit. And she said that during those freak-off sessions where Diddy made himself happy all by himself while she was engaged in some activities with hired sex workers and it was being recorded, she said right after the event, she would delete the footage. Every time, she said she would delete the footage. But when she and Diddy were flying on a plane somewhere, he made her watch the video that she thought she had deleted. So he uploads them somewhere or he sends them somewhere. He has all this footage. That's very, very problematic. And I can imagine, again, all the fear that these people feel because it's not just like, oh, it's in the feds' hands. And even if it is in the feds' hands now, imagine all the people who are going to be sitting around watching these videos. That's scary. Take a listen to this interview real quick.
Now, Diddy called these his freak-out parties. In attendance were celebrities, politicians, athletes, international dignitaries like British royalty, Prince Harry, and music label executives. Lil Rod claimed some of the biggest names in the recording industry sponsored these parties with sex workers, drugs, and underage girls. The CEO of Universal Music, Lucian Grange, is named as a defendant. So is the former CEO of Motown Records, Ethiopia, Habert Mariam, and others. Lil Rod says hidden cameras were in every room of Diddy's homes. Lil Rod believes that Mr. Combs possesses compromising footage of every person that has attended his freak-off parties and his house parties. Salacious tapes of Hollywood's biggest names, including record CEOs and politicians, doing drugs and cavorting with prostitutes and minors. The complaint argues that these freak-off parties were a business model. Young and up-and-coming talent attended and were promised career opportunities and access to music executives. They were then plied with drugs and alcohol, filmed. Some were blackmailed. There was a quid pro quo, according to the complaint. Lil Rod said not only were these music executives sponsoring these parties, they were handing Diddy large sums of cash that he used to pay for the sex workers and drugs.
People are really stupid, aren't they? You at the head of the class, the top of your game, and you're going to get caught up in this foolishness because what's in your pants is jumping. So you're going to enter into some business model. Again, these are just allegations at this point. It could be wrong. And I'm not just saying that facetiously. It could be wrong. We could all be wrong. But that's a crazy hell of an allegation. And again, like I said, who's recording all of this? Well, you heard the name mentioned. Let me see his name here. Ronnie Jones Jr., also known as Lil Rod. He was one of Diddy's producers, and I think he was in his inner circle for about 14 months, something like that, a little over a year. And he claims in his lawsuit, because he's now also suing P. Diddy, that he was groomed, and he says he was abused and exploited. And I'm just reading my notes here. He says Diddy often required him to record him constantly. And he says he has footage of Diddy admitting to crimes, I guess, somewhere. Maybe he still has copies of them. But if that's the case, if he has the footage, watch somebody try to claim AI. That's a wrap for Diddy. I want to now talk about the price of fame, because as you heard there in that Fox report, they talked about a lot of the people who were going to these parties were promised basically fame, promised, like a career advancement. You're in the same room with the movers and shakers in the entertainment industry. So you certainly have access to the people who could take your career, your life, your financial life to the next level. And that has always been the draw for a lot of people. People don't want to hear this, but the road to stardom isn't paved with gold. How many times have we heard the story of broken dreams, people going out to Hollywood, going out to New York, going out wherever to get into show business, and they say that they have had to sell their souls. Now, I don't know that they're really striking up a Faustian bargain, but what they're saying is that they've had to sleep their way to the top. Remember the casting couches that people used to talk about in Hollywood? That still goes on. And then you have individuals who are not only selling themselves, whether it's their body or getting involved in drugs or just the wrong people, but some of them are even selling their own children for fame, for their children to get on and so that their family can get on and make the money. So they're out there selling their souls, selling their bodies, selling their spirits. And in exchange for what? For fleeting fame? Dealing with fickle fans who love you today and then tomorrow they're on to the next person. They've forgotten all about you and then you're all washed up and used up. Y'all remember that song from Marilyn Manson? I'm quoting Marilyn Manson. I think it's We're All Stars Now in the Dope Show. If you have never heard that song, please just go and, you don't have to listen to it, but definitely look at the lyrics. When he says, they love you when you're on all the covers. When you're not, then they love another. And so you would have sold yourself for what? These people want access to millions of dollars. They want to be Instagram famous. They want to be on the talk shows. They want people talking about them. They want everything, but at what cost? And then you have individuals who may not necessarily want to be a celebrity, but they're quite content being famous adjacent, being celebrity adjacent. Oh, P. Diddy is my boy. So-and-so is my girl. And that's good enough for them because they're in the inner circle. I always have a great deal of respect for the celebrities who come out, they share their art with the world. They might drop a hit song, they might do a movie or do a series or a sitcom or whatever. And then they just melt off the scene. They go away. You don't see them all the time stumbling drunk out of the clubs. You don't see them going to these parties with the who's who of society. And I'm not saying that you can't go to a club or you can't have fun. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is just be careful about who you're going out with. If you're going out with people who you know and you're really cool with, that's fine. But don't just be in these places just to be there, because sometimes you get set up, and you get set up by people who you think care about you and who you think are looking out for you. Everybody's looking out for themselves, it seems, in Hollywood. Take a look at Diddy's parties. Everybody's smiling. Everybody looks like they're having a good time, but you could just tell that they're not. Everybody's just there because they see the cameras are there. They're supposed to be having fun. And it's like, they probably would have had more fun going to like a freaking cheesecake factory and hanging out with a few friends, real friends, than they would hanging in these parties where everybody just wants to come dress up to be taken, to have their photos taken and just to be seen, to show off what they're wearing and what it's just pathetic to me. It's a way for them to profile, to be posted up on the blogs and in the vlogs and in the magazines to say, I was there, haha, and you weren't. And sometimes it's good to not be invited. And you would think it's just regular folks like me and you who would want to be invited to these parties, but nope. It's celebrities as well who feel like they have to be. They just have to be in these circles with these A-listers. I remember watching a video of Marlon Wayans. Now, Marlon Wayans comes from a dynasty. His family has been in the business for a very long time. Well-known family. He's a star in his own right. He may not be Denzel Washington level, but he is a star in his own right. A lot of people love him and they really enjoy his art. And to hear him on a talk show questioning why he wasn't invited to Jay-Z's pre-Grammy brunch it was kind of pathetic. It was kind of pathetic. I'm like, Marlon, you're a star in your own right. You don't have to beg for anybody or try to embarrass anybody for not inviting you. They didn't want you there. Why are you begging to be at their table? Why are you begging to be in their company? If they thought that they should invite you, they would have invited you. I think it's more pathetic to say, oh, someone didn't invite me to. So what? They didn't invite you. You're not under any obligation to invite you. But why are you even begging to be there? Take a listen.
You know, I got a bone to pick with Jay-Z.
Oh, my God, bro. I got the same bone.
I get in Diddy party all the time. Diddy hit me. Hey, like that. Canto. Sarah. De Leon.
Take that,
I'm like,
take that.
take that shot. Come have a good time. Always. Jay-Z.
The brunch.
Crickets. And I'd be looking at that brunch like, how the hell did he get in there? Here we having all these worthless ass people in this damn
Hey,
brunch.
man.
How the hell?
I've never been invited to the Rock Nation brunch, right?
Me either.
And I had LMA
And my
up in here.
feelings is hurt.
And LMA was like, oh, there was way less more important people there. And I was like, I don't know how to take that either. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, like way less important people. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But I think now that we aired it out, I think
We
Jay-Z,
really not going.
He going, no. Jay's a funny dude. He listened to the streets. You hear that song? The streets is watching.
Yeah.
Jay-Z be listening to the streets. So all we got to do is talk about this, and I guarantee you next year, I'm going to get an invite.
Yeah, you are.
To the thing, and you going to be my +1.
Oh. Stop it, bro.
I'm lying.
Yeah, but it sound good today. It sound good today.
It really did.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
And I want to.
So, couple things there. So this was from 2023. We're in 2024. Jay-Z canceled his brunch this year, his pre-Grammy brunch. People believe, it's been speculated that he canceled it because he didn't want to uninvite Puff, P. Diddy, who is his friend. So he just canceled it altogether rather than face the controversy or have to deal with headlines of why he invited this guy who's accused of such heinous things. But did you hear what Marlon said? He got all these worthless people there. Wow, worthless. And it goes right back to what I'm saying about how people, it's about a who's who of society. And it's all just about like, it's almost like a clique. You know, how are these people in the clique and I'm not? So if those people who are invited are worthless, what does it say about Marlon? Is he less than worthless? What is it saying? He's not even worthless enough to be invited. And now he's like, well, now that I've said this publicly, which is like putting him on blast, like, oh, you didn't invite me, so now I'm embarrassing you, so I should expect an invitation for next year's pre-Grammy brunch, which would have been this year, 2024. And it's just crazy to me. You are Marlon Wayans. Not the biggest celebrity ever, but big and well known, begging for a seat at the table. It's freaking hilarious. I don't know about y'all. Maybe we're just built differently, but I don't want to go to a party that the person hasn't invited me to. They don't want me to. If they wanted me there, they would have invited me there. I think sometimes we're just too pressed for an invitation, and we don't even know what we're being invited to. People need to be a little bit more discerning, because sometimes not being invited is God's protection. Honestly, it is. And did you hear what he said? Puff always invite me. Of course Puff invites you. Puff liked to party. You don't know that? Anyway, I will end this video as I began, saying that if P. Diddy goes to jail, I feel like all of his enablers, all of the people who protected him, covered for him, did not report what he was doing. If he is convicted, they should be there alongside him, because they played a great role in that. He couldn't have done any of this if he did it by himself. And as a result, I don't think he should go down by himself. And maybe that would be a lesson for a lot of people to say, you know what? It's not worth it for me to be affiliated with you. It's not worth it for me to be on private jets traveling with you. It's not worth it for me to make this money from you. This is blood money. And I don't want any part of that. But people don't always think like that. They don't think long-term strategy. And now everybody is distancing themselves from him. You know, he and Jay were so close, it seemed. I think Diddy said that Jay was the only guy who could call him by his government name. Says that you're pretty close. And now, crickets. You talking about crickets for the brunch? Crickets, because we ain't hearing Jay say anything about that. He's just trying to keep a low profile. So everybody is taking flight right now. So people should really, really be careful. I know it's tough sometimes because you want the money, you might want the fame, but you have to really think about, is it worth it? All of these people made Diddy and others like him untouchable, so they definitely should pay the price for it. You don't get a pass now because the house of cards is crashing down and you no longer benefit from the enterprise. You were right there, you're just as complicit, and you should face similar charges. Anyway, so what do you guys think about all this? This is my question of the day. Should Diddy's, if he is convicted, big if he is convicted, should his handlers, producers, bodyguards, security detail, anybody who was involved and who has spoken out online on the vlogs and the blogs in the news about his dealings, his alleged dealings, you always have to be so careful, but his alleged dealings, should they be in jail alongside him? Or do you think, listen, they were a part of his team, but they're not the people who were perpetrating it, so no, they should get a pass. And, we should just leave it at that. What do you think? Drop your comments down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. My name again is Rogan. You've been watching this Bahamian Gyal. And if you like my content and you love this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Watch my playlist so you can get a taste of my style. And if you like videos like this, please be sure to click these videos right here. I'll see you guys next week. Mwah. I love you. Bye.